Sophie Cunningham has always been loud, proud, and unapologetic. But this time, her voice didn't just echo, it exploded across the league. After months of silence and tension, Sophie stepped up and said what so many WNBA players had been whispering behind closed doors. She went straight for the top, Commissioner Cathy Engelbert, and called out the leadership failures that she says are dragging the league backward just as it's beginning to thrive. In a moment that shook the foundation of women's basketball, Sophie didn't mince her words. She said, "There's a potential lockout. I promise you, we aren't going to play until they give us what we deserve." That one line was more than frustration. It was a declaration of war, a sign that players, tired of being ignored, were ready to take the fight public. The momentum the WNBA has gained through Caitlin Clark's arrival, the massive TV ratings, the sold-out arenas, it's all on the line. And Sophie knows it. Her comments weren't random outbursts. They were the product of months of watching Caitlin Clark endure brutal hits, poor officiating, and a lack of accountability from the league office. Sophie saw what every fan saw, that Caitlin Clark was being used to boost viewership and ticket sales, while the league did little to protect her on the floor. To Sophie, it wasn't just bad leadership. It was exploitation, and it hit close to home. Sophie's 2024 season was one of the toughest of her career. A devastating MCL injury forced her into surgery, leaving her sidelined for months. But rather than silence her, that time off gave her a sharper focus. She used her voice to shine a light on what was broken in the league she loves. From poor scheduling to player safety, from inconsistent refereeing to management indifference, Sophie had seen enough. She found herself agreeing with stars like Napheesa Collier, who openly said she wasn't a fan of leadership either. Collier's statement, "They're failing us as a league, definitely failing us as players," summed up exactly what Sophie was feeling. It wasn't just about business decisions. It was about respect, safety, and basic accountability. Sophie's warning about a potential lockout hit the WNBA like a thunderclap. The idea that players might refuse to play until leadership changed course was no longer a far-fetched scenario. It was a real growing threat. She reminded everyone of what happened to Major League Baseball in 1994, when a strike shattered fan trust for years. If the WNBA repeated that mistake now, in its most promising era, it could destroy everything the players have worked for. But Sophie's words weren't just criticism, they were strategy. She wanted people to understand that the WNBA's rise wasn't guaranteed. Without stronger leadership and better treatment of players, the league could crumble under its own momentum. Caitlin Clark may be bringing millions of viewers to the game, but those numbers mean nothing if the athletes themselves feel abandoned. And while Sophie's words made headlines, her future suddenly became another major storyline. As she enters free agency, she faces a career-defining choice: stay with the Indiana Fever or explore a fresh start elsewhere. Her heart, she says, is with Indiana. "I've loved being here," she told reporters. "I've never been part of a team like this." Those are powerful words from a veteran who has seen the highs and lows of professional basketball. But she also made it clear that she's keeping her options open. That tiny spark of uncertainty has set off speculation everywhere. The Fever want to keep her, but the league's expansion teams, like the Toronto Tempo and Portland Fire, are already eyeing her as the perfect leader to build around. In those new markets, Sophie wouldn't just be another player. She'd be the face of a franchise, a symbol of toughness, integrity, and rebellion. And with her growing fan base and national recognition from playing alongside Caitlin Clark, that move could turn her into one of the most marketable stars in the WNBA. Indiana, though, remains special. It's the epicenter of the Caitlin Clark effect, a team that went from overlooked to must-watch television almost overnight. The Fever have become the Dallas Cowboys of women's basketball, a brand everyone talks about. Every player wearing that jersey gets the kind of attention most athletes can only dream of. Sophie knows that leaving that kind of spotlight is a risk, but she also knows her worth. If Indiana doesn't show her the loyalty she's earned, she won't hesitate to walk away. Her value has never been higher, not just because of her play, but because of her voice. Sophie has become something bigger than a player. She's become a brand, a symbol of resistance. When she speaks, fans listen. And when she goes after the commissioner, she's not just venting, she's holding power accountable. Her words have inspired others to step up too. Collier and others across the league have echoed her frustrations. Together, they've turned what started as quiet dissatisfaction into a full-fledged movement. The truth is, Sophie's criticism of Cathy Engelbert hit a nerve because it exposed what many already suspected. Engelbert might be a savvy businesswoman, but players say she's out of touch with the actual game. They accuse her of focusing too much on corporate deals and not enough on the human side of the sport. For Sophie, that's unforgivable. You can't run a league built on passion if you don't understand the heartbeat of the players driving it, and fans agreed. Social media erupted after Sophie's comments. Fever fans flooded timelines with hashtags demanding the team re-sign her. "She's the heart of this team," one fan posted. "If Indiana doesn't keep her, it's a huge mistake." The support wasn't just local. It spread across the entire WNBA. Fans of rival teams began following her journey. Drawn to her authenticity and courage, suddenly Sophie wasn't just a scrappy player from Missouri. She was the face of defiance in a league struggling to find its identity. Her potential departure from Indiana has now become one of the biggest offseason questions. If she stays, the Fever could become a dynasty anchored by her leadership and Caitlin Clark's star power. If she leaves, she could reshape another franchise entirely. Either way, the league is watching. Sophie Cunningham has made one thing crystal clear: she refuses to be silent. Whether it's calling out the commissioner, defending Caitlin Clark, or demanding respect for players across the league, she's willing to risk her career to spark change. And that's what separates her from most athletes. She's not just fighting for herself, she's fighting for the future of women's basketball. In an era where many players toe the company line, Sophie stands out as fearless. Her voice has forced uncomfortable conversations about leadership, player safety, and the direction of the WNBA. And for once, the league can't ignore it. Her warning about a lockout might sound extreme, but it's also a reflection of how close things are to breaking. As the offseason unfolds, one question looms large. Will Cathy Engelbert and the league office finally listen? Or will they double down and risk a rebellion that could tear the WNBA apart? Whatever happens next, Sophie Cunningham has already changed the conversation. She's shown that one voice, when it refuses to stay quiet, can shake an entire sport. And if there's one thing we know about Sophie, it's this. She's not done talking, because this isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about respect. It's about leadership. It's about fighting for what's right. So what do you think? Should Sophie stay with the Indiana Fever or take her talents to a new expansion team? And is Cathy Engelbert's time as commissioner coming to an end? Let's talk about it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into Sophie Cunningham's powerful stand, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss what comes next.